Congress is back to work in Washington right now, where whether they like it or not. And for a lot of Republicans who support Donald Trump, the answer is not. At the White House today, the president of Poland had the misfortune to visit in the middle of Hurricane Epstein.
So there I was, only half tuned in, when Jimmy Kimmel decided to absolutely unload on Donald Trump. And this wasn't your casual late-night tease with a wink and a grin. Nope, Jimmy showed up armed and ready. It was like he rented a U-Haul stuffed with roast jokes, backed it right into Trump's driveway, and dumped the whole load on his front porch. Sure, Kimmel likes to say he just pokes Trump, but this time, it was a full-on body slam.
And it's a big problem for Trump because the push to release the names isn't just coming from the left. This is a bipartisan effort. It's coming from inside the House. Hardcore conspiracy theorists have joined arms with Democrats to push for a vote on this. Here's where we stand right now. The majority of Republicans, including this human ottoman, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, do not want to release the files. They say it would...
By now, you'd think Trump would have built up some resistance to late-night comedians. But somehow, Jimmy Kimmel still gets under his skin every single time. Maybe it's the way Jimmy frames Trump's chaos, like he's narrating the world's worst sitcom, where every policy and meltdown plays out as another cringe-worthy episode nobody asked to binge-watch.
Hey, speaking of pigskin, Donald Trump, in his ongoing effort to distract us from the fact that he doesn't want Melania to see the Epstein files, went after Rosie O'Donnell again. He's been threatening to revoke Rosie O'Donnell's American citizenship, which, like peeing standing up, he cannot do.
Hearing it laid out like that, you can't help but wonder, how was this guy really in charge? Take the tariff fiasco. Trump paraded it around like groundbreaking economic genius. His pitch? Relax, everyone. We'll slap tariffs on China and others, and the wins will pile up so high you'll beg me to stop winning.
And before I share this, I'd like to remind you, this is a post from the President of the United States. He wrote, as previously mentioned, we are giving serious thought to taking away Rosie's citizenship. She is not a great American and is, in my opinion, incapable of being so. Here's the thing, whenever he's spitting out, he goes back to Rosie. That's his safe space. He zeroes out.
Then Jimmy Kimmel jumps in like, hold on. Tariffs don't mean China's footing the bill. It means we're paying extra every time we shop. He breaks it down so simply, it's like your dad explaining why the power bill's through the roof, because you keep leaving the fridge wide open. Suddenly, Trump's economic genius starts sounding more like a bad joke with a hefty price tag.
President Trump spoiled the U.S. Open yesterday. Hundreds of fans missed the start of the final because Fartina Navratilova decided to come to the match to wave at people. It caused long lines at the security checkpoint. He was roundly booed by the crowd. You know how much of a jerk you have to be to get booed by a tennis crowd?
Suddenly, the 4D chess Trump bragged about looks a lot more like a kid losing in
real
checkers.
time was none other than Donald Trump.
Trump acted like tariffs were this brilliant personal invention, like he just discovered fire. While Jimmy reminded everyone that tariffs have been around since basically George Washington's wig days.
In the Rolex booth, anything with a crown is like catnip to him. He can't resist. And once again, all eyes were on his hands. Trump's right hand is again plastered with some kind of putty. Between his face, his neck, and his hand, his skin has more colors than a Sherwin-Williams store right now. Let's look at that.
The only difference is, when Washington used tariffs, it wasn't to fund his golf courses. Now, when Kimmel moves from tariffs to foreign policy, oh man, it's like watching a kid go from finger painting to trying calculus.
You know, we talk about how much time Trump wastes playing golf. He seems to be spending a lot more time posting dumb AI videos lately. Our governor, Gavin Newsom, has been roasting him online, and so now Trump is doubling up. Last night, he posted a whole string of deep fakes, including these.
He starts mocking Trump's obsession with looking tough on Iran, and I had to stop for a second because Jimmy was saying out loud what a lot of people had been whispering. Trump would stand on stage and say we were locked and loaded, threatening strikes, then pivot the next day into saying, actually, never mind, we're showing strength by not striking.
Because it's too bad he hates drag queens because they could teach him a thing or two about blending foundation. And also, not just his, look at his knuckles here, and can you see that? Does that say MS-13? Send that man to El Salvador. This was good too.
That's like me saying, I was going to go to the gym today, but by not going, I'm proving I didn't need to. What caught me off guard, and this is where I genuinely sat back in surprise, was when Kimmel compared Trump's Iran bluster to a guy arguing with a neighbor about whose lawnmower is bigger, and then deciding not to mow the lawn at all.
President Trump flew to Rome to pay his respects and also to see if he could get a deal on the Pope Mobile to drive around his golf course. For whatever reason, even though the Vatican dress code specifically recommended a dark suit for the service, Trump showed up in his bluest blue suit. Something from the Cedric the Entertainer.
And somehow, that still felt more coherent than Trump's real plan. But it's when Jimmy goes after Trump's rants that things get almost too easy. Trump can't help himself. He just spirals. He talks about everything under the sun: windmills, toilets, sharks. And then, of course, there's the Epstein name drop. Kimmel pointed out how Trump always finds a way to bring up Epstein, like he's trying to remind us he was at the party, but swears he left early.
Wearing a dark suit did not go unnoticed, so the White House press secretary pushed back. She said the president looked great and presidential alongside our stunning First Lady, who was, as usual, dressed perfectly for the occasion. And she's right about Melania. I don't know about stunning.
And Jimmy, in his perfect deadpan, goes, well, if you keep bringing it up, maybe you're not helping yourself. And I'm sitting there nodding. Because honestly, why does Trump do that? Imagine if every time someone mentioned a crime, you chimed in with, well, I wasn't there, but I heard about it.
Anyone who knows anything about economics believes these tariffs to be a terrible idea. Some say this is the dumbest thing he's come up with since Don Jr. The problem is China and Canada and Mexico don't actually pay the tariffs. The American company that imports their goods pays the tariff, which they, of course, pass down to us. And then
at some point, people are going to raise an eyebrow. It's like walking into a bakery, seeing a smashed cake on the floor, and the first guy you meet says, I didn't do it. Nobody asked you yet, man.
I don't know about stunning, but she definitely looks stunned. Show them together, because this is the happiest I've ever seen these two together. It's like they're on their second honeymoon or something. And then the president either went deep in prayer or deep asleep. I don't know. Meanwhile, our former president...
The rhythm of Kimmel's roast is what gets me. He doesn't just land a punchline and move on. He'll circle back, dig in, make it sting. He joked that Trump can't even tell the difference between a tariff and a tip at a restaurant. And then a few beats later, he's weaving in how Trump bragged about saving the economy while the stock market was wobbling like a folding chair at a barbecue.
One tenacious photographer got a photo where he appears to be chewing on either a mint or possibly maybe a certain little blue pill. I don't know which. All I know is after he swallowed it, Melania changed seats. So.
And by the end, you realize Jimmy didn't just throw shade. He built an entire umbrella factory. I think the moment it clicked for me was when Jimmy basically said, Trump always makes himself the victim, even when he's the one lighting the fire. And that right there is the key.
Epstein list, it's the first time Trump didn't want his name on something. There's a lot of speculation, naturally, including from the writer Michael Wolff, who wrote a bunch of books about Trump. Wolff floated the possibility that Trump may have had Epstein killed himself, which, listen, I know he's done a lot of things, bad things, but I don't think Donald Trump ordered a hit on Jeffrey Epstein.
Trump could trip over his own shoelaces, faceplant, and then yell that gravity is rigged against him. And if you give him a microphone, he'll find a way to rant about how Hillary Clinton was secretly controlling the shoelaces.
And the reason I don't think he ordered a hit is because if he did, he wouldn't be able to shut up about it. He was not a good guy, he's a bad guy, and now thanks to your favorite president, he's gone. I had him rubbed out. That would... I killed two Jeffreys, Epstein and the Toys R Us giraffe. Gone.
Kimmel doesn't even have to invent punchlines half the time. He just quotes Trump, pauses, and lets the room laugh at the absurdity. But I've got to give Jimmy credit.
I just got a review, and has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars? His opening was that of a less than average person trying too hard to be something which he is not and never can be. get rid of Kimmel and perhaps replace him with another washed-up but cheap ABC talent.
Like when Trump claimed the tariffs were historic victories, and then quietly bailed out farmers with billions in subsidies because the same tariffs wrecked their sales. Jimmy broke that down like, so let me get this straight. You set your kitchen on fire, then you bragged about saving it by calling the fire department you also forgot to pay.
That's which former president just posted that on Truth? Anyone? No? Well, thank you, President Trump. Thank you for watching. I'm surprised you're still... Isn't it past your jail time?
And I couldn't stop laughing because that's exactly what happened. And the way Jimmy ends these rants, it's never neat, never tied up like a politician's speech. It's messy, raw, and a little chaotic, which is perfect because it mirrors Trump's own mess.
But that's one of the nice things about Trump being president. Now, every day is the longest day of the year. Scientists at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Climate Prediction Center are warning that this summer is forecast to be unusually hot. So they're all fired.
Now, here's a question I keep asking myself. Do you think Trump actually hears these roasts? I mean, does he sit there late at night watching Jimmy Kimmel, fuming, and drafting up angry Truth Social posts? Because honestly, if Jimmy Kimmel is your kryptonite, you've already lost.
If China owns 800 billion of US debt, which they do, then of course the United States, as the borrower, has to pay interest, which means that you and I and everybody else gets to pay taxes every year that go to Washington, where they don't fund our roads or schools or hospitals. It's money that the United States government collects.
And maybe that's what makes all this so fun to watch. Because when a comedian like Jimmy silences Trump, not with shouting, not with power, but with laughter, it strips away the bluster. You can argue with a politician, you can debate policy, but when the joke lands and the room laughs, there's no comeback. That's silence.
Hard to believe from a president who's done more for blacks than Abraham Lincoln. Trump is not a fan.
One more on Juneteenth. Does the
Nikki.
president plan to commemorate the holiday today or make any comment on it?
I'm not tracking his signature on a proclamation today. I know this is a federal holiday. I want to thank all of you for showing up to work. We are certainly here. We're working 24/7 right now. Nikki, go ahead.
Actually, that was my question. Will you plan to mark Juneteenth in any way, either today or with an event later on, maybe next week?
Sure. I just answered that question for you.
And the answer was no.
And that's what Trump hates the most. Not losing an argument, not a bad poll number, laughter. Because laughter means people aren't afraid of you. They're not impressed by you. They're not buying what you're selling. And if you can't sell the myth, you can't keep the power.
Trump said that on his first day in office. He's planning to issue an executive order that would call for a 25% tax on all products that enter the country from Mexico and Canada and a 10% additional tariff on products from China. So now, if you want to purchase a tie from the Donald J. Trump collection, you better get it immediately or it's going to cost an extra 10%. Almost every...
So yeah, tariffs, Iran, Epstein rants, Jimmy lined them all up, knocked them down, and left Trump standing there like a guy who just lost a fight to a late-night host with a desk and a monologue. And honestly, that's the kind of silencing I'll take any day. If you enjoyed leaving a like and subscribing, more videos are on the screen now.